I have such a deep emotional connect and almost a spiritual connect with nature that if I see something, certain places just bring me to tears, honestly.
I am envy of your helicopter rides. I mean, I can't believe the view it will give.
You won't believe this, I almost lost my engagement ring twice last year.
I don't wear when I'm traveling.
Now I've stopped wearing it. Now I don't have the ring anymore. I went the entire last year without doing any online shopping. Zero.
Wow.
Zero.
Is it difficult to be a travel content creator?
Be prepared for any hurdle that comes your way while traveling on location. And if you enjoy filming it, if you enjoy being in different places and doing it very frequently, because that also takes a toll on your body, only then should this be your calling. And be prepared that this is not going to be easy.
In an era where travel is more accessible than ever, the way we travel makes a huge impact on communities, cultures, and the environment. Blending travel with eco-conscious efforts ensures that we have a greener future of travel. The guest for today is an adventurous travel content creator who has turned her passion for exploration into an inspiring digital journey. This is Mrinal Mathur Rajwani, and welcome to another episode of Catch Up Talks as I catch up with travel content creator Tanya Khanuja. Hi Tanya, welcome to Social Catch Up.
Thank you so much, Renil. Let's start off, actually with our queen.
Hi.
Hellos for the queens that we are.
Good. Firstly, congratulations and welcome to the club, married club.
Thank you so much.
How's your married life going on? It's been few months only.
Yeah, it's been 4 months and I think it's just going to be the fourth month now. I don't know if I can give you any honest feedback yet because we're still in our honeymoon phase.
Be in your honeymoon phase still possible because that's the best phase. And like I was telling you earlier as well, I'm married for 8 years, but I'm in my honeymoon phase. So let it be like that. And
That's so sweet. I'm so happy for you and I hope more couples experience the joy of this in their marriages. And I hope we also experience it for many, many years to come.
I'm sure you will. I want to start with an understanding that what does travel mean to you?
Okay. So travel in its truest form. Firstly, I love experiencing something more offbeat and outside of my comfort zone because I think travel is supposed to be a transformative experience. If you go travel and do the same things that you do at home, then you're not going to experience anything different or unusual. So I think firstly, it should be something which is a little bit outside of your comfort zone, whether it's solo traveling or going to a place that you did not expect that you would visit. And secondly, I think for me, I have such a deep emotional connect and almost a spiritual connect with nature that if I see something, certain places just bring me to tears, honestly. So the joy of seeing animals in their truest element in their natural environment or experiencing something out of the world, I really enjoy that. And also meeting new people.
And what's been the highlight of all the travels that you've done so far?
So recently I was in Kenya and Tanzania. I was doing a self-drive road trip. And it was so unique because the guides who were guiding us, they were in the second car and we were in another car. We were 2 cars driving by ourselves inside national parks and just being able to stop next to little lion prides. It was so unique and out of the world because we just stopped for hours and hours, had our lunch from inside our car and just observed animals in their element. It was just such a good experience and I wish to have more of that in my life because I love animals.
And I am envy of your helicopter rides. I am. I mean, I can't believe the view it will give while flying above, rivers and oceans, and I don't know, so many peaks that you've flown over.
I've done some good, I think 7-8 helicopter rides, and it's like getting to experience being a drone, because I film a lot of videos and I get the bird's eye view from a drone, but it's so unusual to be able to see it yourself, So I really enjoy those. And whenever there's an opportunity that presents itself that I can get that drone or that aerial view by myself, by my own eyes also, I really enjoy it.
Tell me, is traveling in your DNA? Did you and your parents used to travel in your growing up years?
I would say yes, and I believe it's in my DNA because I'm from an army background. My father was in the army when I was growing up, so every 2 years of my life, we've shifted from one station to
One
another,
base to another.
one base to another. So I've seen so much of India that way because we stayed in so many different places. And also before that, I think my father's father was in the Air Force, so my father also traveled all his life. My mom's father was also an engineer, so they traveled to so many countries, even outside of India, on different projects. And because of which my mom was also a solo traveler for some part of her life during her teenage years, in fact, much before I became a solo traveler. So she used to take flights back in the 80s and go visit my grandparents in Nigeria where they were based for some time.
Cool.
It's so cool because imagine without phone and you're only communicating through letters. I would imagine that's actually how travel should have been. But now, of course, we have a lot of.
Scared of it?
The kind of stories she tells me, actually, I in fact now feel inspired that, okay, yes, this is something that we should be used to and we should do more of because it's such a good experience. But I think more than fear, she used to enjoy the thrill of it. And I've imbibed that from her.
Nice. What is your biggest learning as a traveler and as a travel content creator? And I know they are two different.
Of course, there's a difference because when you're a content creator, you're also looking at travel from the point of view of presentation. That how can you present it to the world? How can you make stunning videos, great pictures, and how can it be converted into both bite-sized and long-form content? So it's obviously a little dreamy, a little well-picturized,
well
thought out. But when you're a traveler, you mess up things. And that's okay. You do things on impulse at times. You make plans in the spur of the moment. And I enjoy that very thoroughly. And I think what travel teaches you is the mindset, the confidence that whether things are going right or wrong, and especially if you're pushing yourself a little bit outside of your comfort zone, it teaches you that mindset of dealing with life. And in a lot of ways, I've messed up so much. I made so many blunders over the last 1 year. In fact, you won't believe this. I almost lost my engagement ring twice last year.
I don't wear when I'm traveling.
Now I've stopped wearing it. Now I don't have the ring anymore. I almost lost it twice. So those kind of blunders, they teach you lessons, that, okay, I need to stop messing up. I need to do better.
So you love traveling, but how did you become like a travel influencer or a creator? Because I feel and I know there is a lot on compromise when you become a travel content creator. You look at things in a different lens. I know that I've spoken to so many people who are travel content creators and they say that a place where you could go and enjoy, you have to think about creating content. You don't stop enjoying it and start filming. So what made you become a travel content creator?
I think for me, the advantage of being a travel content creator far outweighs the negatives. Of course, there are negatives, and I'm happy to admit them and even be self-aware about them. That, okay, this is a little bit of a problem. This is a con of my job, but how do I navigate my way around it? But for me, the perks of it, the fact that you can travel so freely, so flexibly, and visit so many places around the world, and also the sponsorships that come with it, or the kind of experiences, or even the otherworldly experiences that you get, which if I was not a travel content creator, I would probably never have invested in. So some of the experiences that I especially create content for, I think I wouldn't have done it in my regular job. So those perks I really enjoy. But of course, the cons that come with it are that you have to be hyper aware of what you're filming. So I think I've just found a way to navigate around it in the 7 years of my journey, that not everything is content. Some things are meant to be filmed. Some things are not meant to be filmed. And how do you draw a line between the two of them is where you gain more experience over a period of time. Now I don't think it feels like a compromise anymore.
Is it difficult to be a travel content creator?
I would say yes. Probably one of the most difficult genres of travel. And I would admit that wholeheartedly, because it's just so difficult at times to film on location. We've done a location shoot today. you know that how much it depends on light, weather, and things going wrong, things working out in your favor. So a lot of it is very situational and a lot of it is very conditional. So not everything comes easy, and you have to be prepared. So like I mentioned, I lost my engagement ring twice last year, and that was in the middle of my shoot. So one of the times I was in Italy, I was there for a shoot, and I kept it on the sink, and my ring just slipped into the sink and it went inside.
Oh.
I was just so troubled and traumatized after that. And after the next morning, I had to go for my shoot. And I told the hotel that, okay, this happened. Can you please help me out? And I did not use the sink. I tried to pull out the pipe and everything and I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. So things like that, when they happen and you're supposed to be on the shoot next day and still smile and still be happy, it's obviously difficult, but that's what travel teaches you, that you have to manage. And you learn.
Tell me, what's your process of travel content creation? Do you when you visit a place? Do you know exactly what you want to do? How your day look like? What content you will shoot and everything? Or you would generally like to go around, enjoy, and then realize, okay, this is what I would want to put it as a content, and this is not.
I think it's a little bit of both. I also, on the first few days, if I have the luxury of time, if it's not a very if there's no time crunch, and if there's some luxury of time, I will go and enjoy first and then figure out what I want to film. But in most cases, at least for the short form content, I already know, or I at least have a list of things that I want to film, or if there are any trends going on, or if there are any specific topics that I want to film for, let's say Instagram or Shorts. I plan that out already. For YouTube, also, it's a similar process. I know at least what my day by day is looking like and what my itinerary is. So there are two layers of planning. One is obviously the travel aspect of it, and then there's the filming aspect of it. So more or less, I plan both those things, but there's always some room for being a little flexible, because I think that's what adds a nice flavor to the video anyway. If everything is very fixed and planned and everything is just very to the point, then YouTube में मजा नहीं आता.
So we spoke about a lot of hurdles and challenges that you get as a travel content creator. Tell me, what's the most beautiful part of traveling or being a travel content creator in general?
I think the most beautiful part of travel content creation is that you go out of your comfort zone to experience really amazing things. So, for example, I was in Peru and I went to a pod hotel. Now, this I think I would have done in my lifetime if I had a 9-to-5 job. And I would have probably done this once in my lifetime at a much later age than I did it right now. So I think those things that you seek out and you do, especially because you're trying to merge a little bit of your travel and your content creation. So those things I really enjoy, because I think those things give you a new opening into life, into travel. And I think I do it because I enjoy it.
So do you have any memory of any travel which was not what you expected it to be, or random thing that happened and which is worth a story like that?
Oh, so many things actually. Just recently, like I talked about my Kenya and Tanzania trip. So I saw a live hunt of a tribe. So a tribe which is a hunter-gatherer tribe, and they still live off the land and they still hunt. And I was able to witness a live hunt with them, which was mind-blowing. Then I went on another road trip to Zimbabwe, and I stayed at a place, and it was just a random find. But over there was an infinity pool, and elephants and herds of elephants. They just come visit the property randomly, and they drink out of the infinity pool. So that was really unique. And so many such instances that sometimes I can't even put it into words. Finland was another amazing place where I experienced my first ever Northern Lights, and my now husband also proposed under them. So all of these really unique places, and I just want to keep a memory book of it. And I guess that's why also travel content creation feels so personal and so nice, because every time I look at an old video, it just takes me back to those experiences.
Someone I met very, very recently, I was just that that girl was also a travel content creator, and basically Sharanya I met.
Oh, okay.
So I was talking to Sharanya, and Sharanya that I travel and I click 2,000 pictures, videos, and I never post. And I think those are only for my camera rolls. And so she's like, you should start posting, not just for as a content, but something as your digital scrapbook. Because it will be difficult to go back and see those 2,000 pictures of one trip, but it will always be like your highlight moments will be there, and whenever you'll go and check, it will take you to a good memory land kind of thing. I was like, I get that, but I'm not that consistent.
That's okay. I mean, to each their own. Some people really enjoy maintaining digital scrapbooks, like she mentioned, and I agree. Even for me, when I started off with my YouTube channel, the intention was never that I want to become a travel content creator right away or this is my calling. No, I started making YouTube videos because I was like, I don't want to forget these moments. I don't want to forget my trip. I want to remember what happened when I'm even 60 or 70 or 80. And maybe I want to show my family that, hey, this is what I did. And this was such a cool trip, or share my itinerary with my friends and family. So that was the intention when I started. And I feel fortunate that it worked out and okay, this is my career now. But even today, when I go back to those videos and I go back to those photos, they're such fond memories because travel just does that to you. It takes you to a different land, a different place. And if you're not even thinking about it from the purpose of content creation, the kind of things you experience in a 10-day trip feels like a lifetime. Sometimes when you come back, you feel like, oh, I've lived a decade in this trip.
I get that. And I think I should thank a lot of travel content creator who helped me in general to plan trips. So like, I'm someone who wants to know everything and be prepared a lot. Like, to an extent that I'll go there and I'll tell my husband, okay, see, this is going to happen here. They do this, they do that.
Yeah.
So to that, but all that I could do because I followed many travel content creators, their YouTube videos. I've followed your content. I've followed, there are so many, and I think, and I have a different respect for, especially for travel content creators, because I know that you love traveling, you're going there to enjoy, but you also keeping content and you're keeping others in mind that, okay, you need to make sure that you share as many details as possible when it's not just like a pictures or a reel or something, but you guys gather so much information with an intent that you share that with others, because I know your trip is done. You won't need that information again, but you use and you put that in your video because others who are watching will get benefit out of it. So that's why I have a separate respect for travel influencers.
Thank you so much. I mean, yes, it's a lot of work, but that's why if anybody asks me that should we also pick up travel content creation as our career, I always tell them that do it if you honestly love traveling first. I mean, if you can immerse yourself in this world and be prepared for any hurdle that comes your way while traveling on location, and if you enjoy filming it, if you enjoy being in different places and doing it very frequently, because that also takes a toll on your body, only then should this be your calling, and be prepared that this is not going to be easy.
Okay. So we recently shot, like today we shot a conscious traveler based concept shoot, and I want to understand what is your idea of being a conscious traveler.
Okay. So I've been thinking about this a lot for many, many years now. And there are 3 things that I actively do as a traveler first, not as a travel content creator, but as just a traveler. So one is minimizing my waste. I try as much as possible. I don't drink water out of any plastic bottle, for example. I mean packaged water. So I try and avoid packaged water as much as possible. Always carry my own bottle. If the country that I'm visiting has tap water which is drinkable, then well and good. Otherwise, I use a filter bottle. So try and minimize my waste. That is the first thing. So instead of, like, let's say tampons and pads, I use a menstrual cup. I've been doing that for 6 years now. Instead of using toothbrushes which are plastic, or hair care products which are liquid, which come in plastic bottles, now I'm also an investor in a brand which is called Preserve, which makes solid conditioner and shampoo bars and solid bars for all of your beauty needs. So these things I've been actively doing for many, many years now. Even toothpaste, for example, I've switched to toothpaste tablets. So minimizing waste is one thing. Second is fashion. Now, because I have turned into a traveler, I've also tried to reduce my carbon footprint when it comes to fashion. So as much as possible, I buy natural fibers only and I shop as little as possible. In fact, I went the entire last year without doing any online shopping. Zero.
Wow.
Zero.
How did you survive?
So wherever I was traveling to, I tried to thrift a few pieces, but also I've been reusing my clothing a lot. I mean, as much as possible, I dug out all of my old clothes. I tried to reinvent them or tried to repurpose them. I've even painted a few of my clothes to just make them feel fresh. So I've been thinking of in this direction for as long as possible. And I think those are in some ways that you can try to be a conscious traveler. Also refusing, let's say, airline food or containers that serve you food that come with the, served food. So if you can carry your own dabba, your own cutlery, your own straws, I try and do that as much as possible. I mean, it's not always possible. But if I can refuse airline food, for example, and just carry my own food for a certain long trip, I'll try and do that.
Even not nothing big, but I feel like airline foods, I know if I'm traveling and I'm from some place to other and I've already had my meal, then I'll try and not take them at all.
Yes.
I say no, it's okay. I don't want to be the one who's wasting it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I know because the food will be reused somewhere else. And so I try that.
Yeah.
I'm not very successful in it. But yeah, I know it being sustainable, being conscious takes a lot of efforts. It's not that easy.
Yeah, and I think you should do as much as is possible for you, because a lot of people also on the internet there are trolls, and once you mention that I tried doing this, they will troll you for not doing it consistently.
And even picking up on small things, they won't realize that what's the story behind it.
Yes.
But they will start picking up. But that's part of everything.
I think one should just appreciate that at least somebody is trying, rather than doing it with perfection. So even in my life, I try to appreciate that at least I'm trying and thinking in that direction than doing it with perfection.
Was there any?
I forgot to mention the biggest aspect of it.
Tell me.
I turned vegan from a non-vegetarian. And I think turning vegan also has a huge environmental impact because it cuts down your carbon emissions and your carbon footprint by a great extent. The water wastage or the amount of greenhouse gases that are associated with poultry meat, all of that is also substantially reduced. And also it doesn't aid animal cruelty. So I've been vegan for over a year now.
Nice. You've been from past few years. I can see that you're trying different things to make it a conscious effort. Every effort as a conscious effort. I know that you went like a digital nomad kind of thing also for a year. How was that as an experience?
So it's been a very different kind of an experience. I did that 1 year with my partner and 1 year solo. So it's the kind of life that I've always envisioned that I'm going to live. And I hope that I can continue doing it in future as well. But it comes with its own challenges. For example, because now I'm also a content creator and most of my business is in India. So transferring that all together to being a location independent business has had its own challenges, which is probably one of the only cons that I've experienced so far. The second thing is that sometimes your health takes a little bit of a backseat because I can't keep up with like a gym routine or a workout routine wherever I go to. Although I try to, and I try and choose as many activities as are possible in different locations. But I think that there's a little bit of a health compromise in some places, and especially with food, because cooking food is not always possible in every location. So if you're eating out of restaurants or eating out frequently, that is also a little bit of a compromise. But having said all of that, I think this kind of a lifestyle is something that I still want to continue with, maybe in some way or another, and experiment more and live out that perfect dream of being a digital nomad.
So we were discussing about conscious travel. Was there any instance that happened, or any travel trip that you took, or any travel experience that you had that made you think towards this direction?
I think there wasn't any one trip. I've kind of always been this way from a very long time. From when I was a little kid, I remember I used to get really disturbed when I saw trash and I saw filth, or I saw people throwing trash away. So that was, I think, the first trigger. And even when I was a teenager, I used to fight with my classmates if they threw something, outside, like a wrapper outside the bus, and I used to fight with people, pick up fights. And my mom actually once even intervened that, okay, stop. It's good that you care about, because I picked up a fight with a random man in the Delhi metro. And she was like,
It's
okay,
risky.
it's risky, please. So I've always been a little bit like that, but I think I lost a little bit of that idealism as I became an adult. But when I became a full-fledged adult, I realized, listen, why? I want to get back into this. And if I believe in this, if this is who I am, let's just embrace it. It's okay. And with my content creation, then I wanted to kind of keep embracing it. But also when I started traveling and I started seeing how traveling also impacts the world and how our actions also impact the world. And with all the places that I visit, and they're mostly so close to nature, then there's also always this duality of life, that you come back to the city, you see what city life is like, and then you live in nature, you camp out, you see what life is like. So that duality really stuck with me, and I realized that, okay, I want to think about this, I want to care. And that is how it started.
Do you see, or do you believe that people have started taking eco-friendly steps for traveling?
I think yes, to a great extent. A lot of people, at least a lot of my travel friends who I meet with or travel with on the road, a lot of people have now started consciously thinking about how they can impact the world in a positive way. But I think there's still scope for some improvement. Not not when it comes to travelers, but in general. I think by far and large, I think we're a very consumer-driven society, and everybody cares about the next. I think so many things, much more than where we're at when it comes to thinking about the environment.
I completely get. Like I said, it's a difficult path to be on.
Yeah.
So
it's a fine line, and sometimes you don't know where you're treading.
Yeah. So, do you incorporate these conversations like sustainability or being eco-friendly? Because I know both things are different. Do you try and incorporate these things subtly in your content as well?
Yes, subtly, yes. For example, I always showcase that I'm drinking from a filter bottle or refilling my bottle as much as possible. Or I have started doing cleanup drives. And I really love them. I love picking up trash.
We saw that today.
Take me to a place where there's trash, I'll pick it up. And even randomly, sometimes if I'm visiting a beach, I will try and carry a bag with me and fill at least a few pieces here and there and take them back with me.
We saw how cutely you picked up trash.
So those subtle conversations, yes, I incorporate in my content as well, because I think they matter. They at least, if not everyone, if even two people are inspired to do the same and have a better impact on our environment, why not? And especially with great influence comes great responsibility. So yeah, I try.
Okay. What future do you see for travel content creators?
I think this field has so much to offer, and it's a field that's very close to my heart. And I hope that in future, more people talk about responsible travel and sustainability. So that is one future that I envision for this field, because I think it is also our responsibility not just to showcase destinations, but to talk about how we can safeguard those destinations. So that is one future that I envision for this field for sure. And in general, I feel like there's so much I look forward to when it comes to long form travel content. There's new shows, new OTT travel series maybe, or just a lot of immersive travel and showcasing that in a very positive light. is something that I'm really looking forward to. That's the future I
And what
envision.
future you envision for yourself?
Okay, investing in a few more sustainability brands, doing a lot of really cool travel IPs, hopefully an OTT show, and successfully orchestrating more cleanup drives.
Wow. Good. I hope you do. Really think so. A few beaches in and around Mumbai are now clean because of these cleanup drives. Uh, the beach we shot today used to be very filthy, and a lot of cleanup drives happen, and now the government also take care of it. So I'm glad these things are happening. I'm really, really looking forward for this conversation to become big, because I mean, I know you and I individually won't be able to make a lot of difference, but if spoken consistently, if spoken louder, these things will happen, these changes will happen. And I really feel that people take these things little seriously.
That's true. And I agree. I hope that happens. And I hope we find our travel destinations in the condition that every new person who visits them deserves to see them in.
So, you know, the germ of this idea, the concept that we shot today, it was with me for so long, but but the moment we thought that we should do this, or moment we started having that conversation that okay, we're shooting with Tanya, I was head on clear that I want to do this concept. I knew there's no one else who'll be more keen to do this than you.
Yeah. And honestly, you hit the hammer on the head of the nail, because this conversation is so close to my heart, and I know it's so close to your heart as well,
Yes.
because it actually matters to you. So beautiful concept, and I hope it turns out just the way you envisioned it, because you are you brought this conversation on the table with this idea, and I'm so glad that we did it. And I just hope that people appreciate it just as much as we care about it.
I'm sure people will. I'm sure there is a audience for that, and there is an audience who will understand it. I know we've done a lot of travel and conscious travel conversation. I want to understand Tanya as a person. I know do I know the Tanya online and the offline are two personalities different?
I think my personality is probably very similar to the way I present it online, but it's just that I think I keep a lot of things to myself as well. For example, I have the most random hobbies in the world.
I would want to know that.
Okay, I love plants.
I love them too.
I love plants so much. I take care of so many plant babies, irrespective of the fact that I travel. I love growing things. So I grow dhania, I grow mushrooms, I am trying to make kombucha. Yeah, all of those things. And with sustainability, I think I've become very passionate about veganism as well. So I'm a very active vegan, and I'm so proud of this fact that I could transition from becoming from a non-vegetarian to just vegan. Cold turkey, I went vegan, and I'm so proud of myself that I did it and I could do it, and I'm sustaining it.
But do you find difficulty when you travel?
I think when your intent is there and
You'll find places.
You will find places, you will find ways. If you're serious about your intent, life just happens.
Like I find Indian food when I travel abroad.
Exactly. Same.
My intent is to eat Indian food.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can understand. I feel that too. And if I can't find Indian food, you know what I do? I take bread. And not like normal bread. I take like those nice, those loaf breads. I cut them and then I put masala on it. And then olive oil on it. It tastes so good.
Masala and olive?
Yeah. It's like my cheat meal when I can't find Indian food, because I find that curry masala. Bread ke upar, you put a thin layer of that masala and then you put some olive oil over it so that it soaks into the bread.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I don't think so. I can experiment that.
Yeah, I eat the most random food at times when I can't find Indian food. So, for example, I cut up fruits and then I put chaat masala on it.
That I can do.
I carry chaat masala with me.
It's easy, na?
Yeah.
Jalo. I think I have to take a lot of travel tips from you that I'll do outside this conversation. But yeah, I have to take that Finland itinerary also because that's on my list now. Anyone who's traveled to Finland and know if that person is, I'm talking to that person.
Done, Mrinal. You just text me, call me. I'll share the itinerary with you, or I'll also share all detailed tips with you. Feel free.
Thanks, Sanya. It was a lovely conversation that we had. And I'm glad that we spoke about everything possible today. Not just travel, but personal relationships, everything possible, I think.
Yeah, and it was such a nice conversation. It was so nice meeting you. I mean, outside of the camera and this conversation also, I'm so glad that we had such a great time today and it was fabulous meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you for being part of Social Ketchup Cover.
My pleasure.
Yay! Now we should wave back.
Our queen wave. Bye-bye,
Bye.
everyone. Hey, thanks for tuning into this episode on Social Ketchup and watching us talk about our passion and traveling today. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you subscribe and also like this video and leave us a comment down below. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.